Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Alex Flood. The Wajashko Nigam Nation near Kenora is about to embark upon a heart-wrenching journey that many First Nations across the country have already begun. The search for bodies in unmarked burial sites at former residential schools. The announcement comes as part of a 3-year funding package announced this week by the federal and provincial governments. Almost $2.9 million is being provided to the community to help them identify burial sites related to the St. Mary's Indian Residential School. The school was operational for 75 years and was run by the Catholic Church. The feds will be contributing $2.5 million over 3 years. Meanwhile, the province is committing $400,000 for 2 years, starting next year. Chief Chris Skeed says there are many of his residents who attended the school, including some stories about those who did not return. However, before technical personnel with ground-penetrating radar can begin, he says they need documentation linked to the school to assist with the identification of any bodies discovered.
The federal government has records. The church has records. And I know we have people in place to obtain those records to get to the truth. I know in my opening comments that we need those. We need that transparency. We require those records, and that would be every record related to our children. And without it, there cannot be truth.
In June, the province announced it would be committing $10 million over the next 3 years to help First Nation communities investigate, protect, and commemorate burial sites associated with residential schools. It is unclear if the $400,000 announced is part of that fund. And the playground at Boulevard Lake is set for a major upgrade next year, thanks to a $750,000 gift from Canadian Tire's Jumpstart program. The new fully accessible playground, which will look similar to this, could cost up to $1 million total. The city will kick it up to $250,000 from the Renew Thunder Bay Reserve Fund. The playground was already set to be replaced in 2023 at a cost of $800,000. Parks planner Werner Schwarz says the Jumpstart playground is bigger and better than what was being proposed. City Council approved the new plan this past week, and the design features the Canadian Tire triangle logo. Councillors didn't express any concern about the corporate branding, but there were questions about the configuration of the equipment.
It's fine for them to give us a design. That's a good thing. But is it what we want to have in this area?
The basic layout of the overall image of the playground that's defined by them. Mm-hmm. However, within that, we have flexibility to alter how the units are positioned to be able to work with the site as we have it.
Shore adds the money the city is saving through the partnership will allow the Parks Department to explore other improvements, like accessibility to the beach and outdoor fitness equipment, as well as a beach volleyball court. And nationally, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck near Haiti earlier this morning, killing hundreds of people and causing widespread destruction. The search is still underway for those trapped beneath the rubble, an all too familiar sight for the people of Haiti. Heather Butts has the details.
Haiti hit once more. The damage and destruction is devastating. Buildings flattened, piles of crumbled concrete line the streets. Locals are racing to rescue those beneath the rubble. The magnitude 7.2 earthquake struck about 125 kilometers from the capital, Port-au-Prince, killing hundreds of people. The U.S. Geological Survey issued a red alert, indicating a high amount of casualties are probable. In the coastal community of Korai, the injured lay on stretchers outside the local hospital. Young children being treated on the streets under makeshift shelters. Haiti's prime minister said he was mobilizing all available government resources to help victims in the affected areas. On Twitter, he appealed to the spirit of solidarity and the commitment of all Haitians to unite in order to face this dramatic situation. One local aid group says this crisis is just one more on top of what the country is already facing, including worsening political instability after the president's assassination, COVID, and food insecurity. Canada is offering help, with the Prime Minister tweeting, "Canadians are thinking of everyone affected by the devastating earthquake in Haiti. Our hearts go out to those who have lost loved ones and those who have been injured, and we're standing ready to provide assistance in any way we can." This has happened in Haiti before and led to mass fatalities and an international response. In 2010, a magnitude 7 earthquake struck outside Haiti's capital. Thousands of buildings toppled in Port-au-Prince and surrounding cities. More than 200,000 people died. Today's earthquake struck just days before a tropical storm is expected to make landfall, adding to the urgency in the search for survivors. Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
The opioid crisis in the Northwest continues to plague communities, and the culprit commonly associated with many of the overdoses, including the one that claimed the life of a teenager in Fort Frances earlier this year, is fentanyl. According to Public Health Ontario statistics for the Northwestern Health Unit, in 2019, there were 9 opioid-related deaths in the catchment area, and preliminary data for 2020 indicates there were 6 during the first 6 months of that year. Data provided by EMS in the Rainy River District shows calls for suspected opioid overdoses nearly doubled between 2019 and 2020 from 4.2% to 8.2%. Gillian Lunny is the manager for sexual health and harm reduction with the NWHU, and she says restrictions due to COVID have made it difficult to provide proper support to tackling the opioid crisis, noting it was already a daunting task to protect children from opioids, especially with the insidious nature of fentanyl.
Son and he goes to parties, and in my mind, there shouldn't be opioids at that party, but I don't always know. So he has a naloxone kit with him everywhere he goes. I know it can be a hard thing to want to do, to talk to your kids very realistically about this stuff, but it can certainly help protect them.
One of Canada's leading fast casual restaurants, Edo Japan, opened in the Brentwood Village Mall today, and the restaurant hopes to enhance the city's culinary offerings with their diverse selection. The popular Japanese restaurant has 4 stores in Ontario and more than 150 restaurants across Canada. As of right now, you can't sit inside due to restrictions, but you can still go in to get some takeout. To celebrate their opening day, the shop is delivering complimentary meals to deserving staff at businesses around Thunder Bay as part of their Pay It Forward campaign. Customers of the brand new restaurant were excited to be able to try some new food.
We were looking forward to seeing it open, and this was the day we found out it was open, and we thought we'd give it a try.
I'm super excited about them opening. Whenever I'm in the city, this is the first store I always go to. It's really easy, quick, clean, good food all the time, good teriyaki sauce, great place to go.
It's great to have alternative and exciting new food, especially I think Japanese food is very healthy and delicious.
Edo Japan is open during the week from 10:30 in the morning to 10:30 at night, with similar hours on the weekend, and is also located right beside Bar Burrito, which will also be opening in the near future. And the Eleanor Drury Children's Theatre has been busy since January of 2021, learning new skills and collaborating to create a new one-of-a-kind performance film called On the Great Wind's Back. Mitchell Ringos has more.
The Children's Theatre is a non-profit, volunteer-run theatre organization that's been in Thunder Bay for almost 40 years. The film On the Great Wind's Back is based off a few different children's stories and a script wrote by Eleanor Drury. The organization is usually specific to theatre, but decided to take a different approach this year and try film. Production for the short film started in January, and because of restrictions went a couple months past their ideal date, just finishing this past weekend. Director Alexa Shermack says how challenging the production was.
When we had planned this production, we were sort of doing it in 3 bursts. We would practice a little bit and then get together and film and practice and film, but that didn't end up happening, right? Because things changed, we were all locked down, and then we decided that, okay, we have to shift a little because some of our scenes took place in the winter. We weren't able to film during the winter, so how are we going to sort of create a world, when we don't have that world?
The film was supposed to be done as a group, but because of restrictions, they decided to take a very different, more challenging approach that would keep everyone separate while filming.
Anything you see in the film where they're together, they actually are not together. So no youth filmed together at all, actually. Every single person filmed separately. They sometimes were distanced here reading lines and working off of each other, but never once did they actually get to sort of physically be together.
And having to act with no surroundings or fellow actors, filming was definitely a challenge, as actress Mackenzie Dillon spoke about her experience on set.
It was especially difficult with trying to navigate a 3D environment that didn't quite exist and having to rotate everything. So say we would have a room with a bed, a table, and a window and a door. And the first time we did it from a different perspective, I would be like, where's the window?
And you can soon go see the short film during the Digital North 2021 Theatre Festival starting August 18th, running to the 22nd. The festival is a pay-as-you-can event with multiple opportunities to view the film. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Just a great example of another local commodity opening up here in Thunder Bay, joined with Kurt Black. And Kurt, it sounds like Lionel Messi's future team was in action today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely been the week of Messi in Paris. All eyes were on him. And today, his eyes were on his future team as they were making a good impression, I think, in front of the Argentinian star. All that and more after the break.
Welcome back. Well, Lionel Messi, the great Argentine player, Kurt, he is finally back with PSG, but hasn't played so far yet.
Yeah, no, the fans were definitely excited today to hopefully see him back in the lineup, but he was in attendance watching on. And you know what? It really was a welcome fit for a king this afternoon. And when it comes to soccer royalty, the fans in Paris gave Lionel Messi the ovation we were all expecting. The 34-year-old Argentinian wasn't in the lineup, as he's just a month removed from his last steps on the pitch where he led his home nation to the Copa America Championship. But Messi was able to enter Le Parc des Princes for the first time as a member of PSG.
Why do I have a feeling there will be a run on 30 jerseys?
Messi's new squad already working hard to impress the all-time great versus Strasbourg, as a long cross into the box is sent home by Mario Icardi in just the 3rd minute of the game. The 6-time Ballon d'Or winner watching from above with new teammate Neymar Jr. both getting back into shape. The third member of what will likely be the most dangerous attacking line in soccer, Kylian Mbappe, tallies one for PSG as Paris takes a fortunate bounce as Paris takes this one 4-2. Still unknown whether Messi will be in the lineup anytime soon. Now that's not the only news in Paris as Olympic gold medalists Ashley Lawrence and Jordan Huitema appear set for some Canadian company at Paris Saint-Germain. The Parisian reports PSG is set to complete the signing of goalkeeper Stephanie Labbe from Swedish side Rosengard. The 34-year-old Edmonton native is expected to join the team following her break after backstopping Canada to Olympic glory earlier this month in Tokyo. Labbe's arrival will come with PSG facing a goaltending crisis as she has been relied on to replace Chris Edler, who left Paris for rivals Lyon. Labbe has only made 10 appearances for Rosengard after joining them earlier this season before a fantastic performance in Tokyo caught the attention of Europe's elite clubs. PSG kicks off its defense of the Division I title on August 29th with a visit from Fleury 91. And it's first against worst tonight in the league-leading New England Revolution visit Toronto FC. New England enters action with 40 points, a whopping 25 more than Toronto, who have left their fans often wondering what Toronto team will take the pitch. TFC has looked like they belong in the basement, slow and hesitant with a Swiss cheese defense, but then the team has come out looking like a winner, fast, self-assured, and relentless. The team showed both sides in last weekend's 2-2 tie with New York City FC, but in order for TFC to get out of the basement, head coach Javier Perez knows draws won't be enough.
The performance is good, but we need to get wins. At the end is about that. So the next step for us, and even if I look at the past, I always look to the future, and the future is we need to get 3 points because 1 point at a time, we see that is very difficult.
Right now, with everything that's happened and where we are in the table and the league and what we're thinking, I think we're the way we're playing so far, we're in a good spot for the rest of the games. I think we'll just have to take it one game at a time, and we want our 3 points. We get the 3 points and we focus on the next.
Sticking in Toronto, the Raptors have signed Delano Banton, the 46th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, to a multi-year contract the team announced today. The contract is a 2-year, $2.5 million rookie deal. The deal is fully guaranteed and partially guaranteed in year 2. The Toronto native is the first Canadian ever to be drafted by the Raptors, and Banton played in 27 games for the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers last season, posting 9.6 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. When the IIHF Women's World Hockey Championship finally gets underway next week, one of Canada's young stars to watch will be 21-year-old Sarah Fillier. The dynamic forward from Georgetown, Ontario, has been labeled by some as the future of Canada's women's senior national team. Those may be mighty big skates to fill, but Fillier is ready to put the world on notice.
I'm super competitive. I want to be the best at everything that I do. Growing up, my whole life has been, revolving around hockey, and I love that it's that way, and I think that really shows whenever I step on the ice.
Center right out in front, a great chance there, it's in!
This is a player who has a 200-foot game. Her hockey IQ is incredible.
Sarah as an athlete is, she's an outlier. Her goals are bigger than anybody else, what could ever put on her.
I remember walking in the locker room my first camp and seeing Poulin's name tag beside mine. She's definitely one of my idols. My mom always texts me, who's your roommate? I was like, you'll never guess. She was like, guessing. And I was like, no, Poulin's my roommate. She was like, stop. And she went to call me. And I'm like, oh my God, don't call me right now. I'm with her. This is so embarrassing.
When you see the young ones coming up and you want to help them, you want to have that door open. Sarah Fillier is we've been pretty lucky to have her on Hockey Canada. I've seen her growth over the last couple of years. I remember having a little one-on-one against her, and to be honest, she really skated by me. She's been really impressing me since day one.
The
The first thing that popped out to me was obviously how fast and how strong she is on her skates. She definitely has a gift.
She's somebody who I think can definitely lead the national team one day, and I think will have a pretty storied career.
Centering in front, a shot, they score. Sarah Fillier.
I definitely expect the best out of myself. I think if I'm not striving to be the best player in the game, then I don't think that I'll be able to, reach my full potential.
There's been people like, Haley Wickenheiser and Marie-Philippe Poulin who've taken the game to this point, and I think she's gonna take that torch and go take it to a whole nother level.
I think I speak for many people out there that I'm definitely excited to see that tournament when it starts August 20th. Now on to the Lynx, as it is day 3 at the Wyndham Championships down at Sedgefield Country Club in North Carolina. Canadians Roger Sloan and Mackenzie Hughes hit the Lynx with hopes of making up ground on day 2 leader Russell Henley, who was out in front at 14 under par. Fortunately for Canadian golf fans, both Canucks were at their best on moving day, but just how low could they go? We'll start off with Calgary native Roger Sloan, who sat 9 shots back of Henley entering today onto the par 3 12th, and Sloan, he's going to nail one of his 6 birdies on the day, now in a tie for 3rd at 11 under. Speaking of Mackenzie Hughes, he's trying to make a push as well, but it was going well until the par 3 7th, and it's into the fescue. He would drop 2 shots, but the Hamilton native redeems himself on the very next hole with this perfect approach shot, as he would get 1 shot back as Hughes finished the day tied for 28th. Shifting to the Brit, Justin Rose looking to make his own push up the leaderboard as he sinks this cheeky little putt from 20 feet on the 9th to equal Sloan at 11 under, but the Brit dropped 1 more shot and is now tied for 9th. Great to see so many Canadians out on the leagues really competing for that Wyndham Championship, and we can only hope Sloan makes a good run on Sunday. But I think with the weather coming up, we're going to have some good golfing weather here in the local area, aren't we, Floody?
Absolutely. If the conditions this coming week are anything like that course was today, they're going to be mighty fine, Kurt. We'll have your local and national weather forecast for you coming up after the break. Welcome back. Well, we've been blessed with some pretty good conditions in Thunder Bay over the last week, but it is once again going to get dry and hot again as the days move forward. But before we get to your local forecast, let's take a trip out west to Vancouver. And starting in Vancouver, currently there are a few clouds in the area. It is hazy. 28 degrees Celsius currently, and there is a heat warning in effect, and an air quality statement has been issued. Down south in Toronto, it's currently partly cloudy. That should clear up this evening. Currently 26 degrees, but that is expected to drop down to 13. And we'll take a trip out to the east coast in St. John's. It is currently mainly cloudy with a chance of drizzle. Fog patches should be developing over this evening, and it is currently 24 degrees. And now let's take a look at the region in Dryden. Currently clear with a low of 17 tonight, and there is a heat warning in effect. And in Greenstone, it is also clear with a low of 14. And our neighbors to the east in Sault Ste. Marie, there is some cloud coverage there, and their temperature is a low of 13 overnight. And now let's get to the forecast tomorrow in the region. Beginning in Kenora, it is sunny, and look at that temperature, a high of 31. There is a heat warning issued for the Kenora area. And speaking of heat warnings, Armstrong will have one of its own with a high of 32. Clouds should be clearing up in the morning. And in Marathon, also sunny with a high of 24, but no heat warning in the area. Now let's take a look at the local forecast here in Thunder Bay. It's currently sunny with 23 degrees as the temperature. And overnight, that should be dropping to around 14 degrees, and some cloud coverage should come into the area. And then your extended forecast over the next few days here. It is hot, hot, hot. Look at all that sun. 30 degrees tomorrow, sunny and very warm with a low of 19. Monday, pretty much same story. Partly sunny, a high of 30, low of 15. Tuesday, mostly sunny, nice and warm, high of 26 with a low of 15. But then Wednesday, it goes back up to 28 with a strong possibility of thunderstorms. We need rain, but we do not want lightning. Low of 15 that day. And on Thursday, to almost wrap up the work week, it is sunny and pleasantly warm, a high of 26 and a low of 16. Man, some pretty dry conditions this week, Kurt. I mean, obviously heat warnings in effect all over the region, and Thunder Bay may have a heat warning of its own.
Yeah, we were joking before this segment about golfing weather would be fantastic, but we definitely need the rain desperately up here in Northern Ontario, especially with the fires burning, of course, north of us. Rain. Give us rain. No more thunderstorms, please.
No, absolutely not. Lightning is pretty much the last thing this region needs right now, as all of you know. But we appreciate you joining us tonight on this Saturday evening. We hope you join us again this coming weekend, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.